Okay, Form 11 2025. Log in to your ROS. Press complete a form. It's up at the top there. And because I've already submitted this, so file a return. Now in this instance I've already submitted the return, but in the instance where it's new, so here is the one I've already created. So this is for 2025. We are now on the 2nd of January 2026, and I file my returns on the first week of January for the year before. So as I said, that's for here, and I press next. Now again, I have already filed this, but in your instance, there we go. So we just go through proceed, and then we go down here. We need to tick something else. Let's press save. Yeah, let's go down again. Yeah, just tick this box, amending, and then press continue. Yeah, this is just I'm not going to make any changes in this particular one. I'm just going to show you. So that's that. That's how you log in. Now again, you don't need to do that if you have already submitted your return. You create a new, you create an entirely new separate Form 11. So personal details, just leave as is. Let's go through there, scroll down, and press save. And continue, and then self-employed income. So this is the private work. This is the part where you're going to put in information. Let's scroll down, and first aspect here is the name of the company, and then the next aspect is profit accessible, and this is where you need to gain access to your income and expenditure. Now here is my income and profit and loss for 2025, and again it's automatically calculated. So that's my net profit, which is that, and if I go in here, you just put the figure straight in there, and then it's the same thing, enter profit accessible, and then we scroll down, and machinery and plant. Now in this instance I have machinery and plant carried over from the previous year, 2025. So I made a purchase of approximately 1,400 euros of capital goods, most notably cameras, and that's over 8 years. I can claim that back. So this is just a figure that was already automatically installed. It is correct, and it is for those equipment. Now, if you have other capital goods for this year, you again need to factor that in, and you get the discount over 8 years. So, as my income in Form 11 is primarily for labour and not for capital per se, and I'm not really submitting for capital goods, but for expenses, it's not going to be a major thing. But again, consult with your AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, etc. Just copy this section, paste it in, and ask to explain and give a context in terms of what capital goods you have purchased. Let's continue on down there. Losses, so I haven't made any losses. Again, you're going to be referencing your income and expenditure accounts. And again, any aspect of this. Okay, another aspect, extracts. So this is for year 2025, Form 11 2025, and it is the actual year that I will be doing these accounts for. Now, sales turnover. So again, we're referencing, and that is gross sales 25,873, and again I'm rounding it up to 1. So that is that. So you just take it straight from the accounts. Now they might already be auto-populated from the previous year, just change that. And again, that figure goes down here as well. And now we're coming into the expenses. Now some of this will be auto-populated as well from the receipts tracker that you have uploaded. Just make sure that it is correct and go through that. So for me, I have consultancy fees. So if I go into here and I go over here, sorry, let me just, if I go over here, here's my summary of expenditure. Consultancy fees 1080. Let's jump back in, and there we are. Motor and travel expenses 3438, again rounded up. There we are. Repairs and renewals 995, etc. And then other expenses 28. There we are, other expenses, again drawn directly from the income and expenditure account, so that's all fine. And then we progress on further, we press calculate, and that does that, 17551. Let's see, there we are, so that's there, net profit. We leave out adjustments made to profit expenditure. That can be a bit of a confusion, but again, if you have a query, just copy and paste it in. Upload your income and expenditure accounts, upload your investment forms, for example, the Degiro account for shares and so forth, and then press calculate again, and that will automatically do that. And let's go down here then, drawings. So again, we're going back to reference. Where are my drawings? Well, my drawings are total cash withdrawal 12233, 12233, and that's it. So you press save and then you continue. So that is the section on self-employed. So from here then, I don't have Irish rental income at the moment, so I press PAYE, and again this is my current full-time role. I leave that as is, it's auto-populated. Let's go down and we press save and continue, and we go into the next one then, PAYE pensions part 2, look through that. Now, flat rate expenses. Make sure you click inside here and then choose, for my instance, college lecturer. And I'm working in the university, and it gives you a flat rate expense. And then again, auto-populated in terms of utility bill. The broadband is no longer being placed in here. I'm putting it under I'm not putting it under my PAYE remote working. I'm putting it under expenses in work. So that now is currently in the expenses for work. And again, this is automatically calculated based on all of the receipts that I have uploaded throughout the year in terms of utility bills. And let's continue on there. So we keep going down. Again, none of this is applicable to me, but if there are changes in the circumstance for myself, I'll look at that separately. So for example, here in terms of a pension, I haven't had a pension change. Foreign income, this is important, and this is where you will now be referencing the Degiro or Degiro. Now let's reference the Degiro. So to get your annual report from your investments, log into Degiro, go to Inbox and choose Documents. And then from here, you're going to choose Annual Report for the particular year. In this instance, it is 2025. Download that, So now I've consulted with ChatGPT, which gave me one answer, and Gemini gave me another answer. But given the facts, I had to use my own judgment. Again, under foreign income, net amount received. So you're going to reference the annual report from Degiro, and in this instance it's on page 8, income distributions. And as we can see, dividend, GB, 0 withholding tax, so that is 27 euros. That's dividend. If you go back here, that's where I put it in, 27 euros. Let's continue on there. Again, I haven't received any lump sums. And US dividends, again we're going back. US dividends, 175, and I've paid 52 euros. Now, that is the gross amount, so just make sure you know that it is gross, and that is 175 from page 6 of my current annual report 2025. I put it straight in there. I've no Canadian income, foreign trade, foreign rents, nothing applicable to me. Income from all other royalties. So then I continue on. Now again, there is a slight query that I could put in. I could state income from all other UK non-deposit royalties, annuities, gross amount of income from all royalties, annuities and dividends. And again, this is where it is confusing, but again, I have made a decision to put it in above. Great Britain net amount received of dividends, 27 euros. That might be one to be checked or corrected, but again, in this instance I put it in above and I left this blank. Let's continue on. Amount of foreign tax deducted. Income from all other foreign. So let me just go back in here. Which section is this? All other foreign, excluding UK. 62 euros. Let's go back in. And here I have only Germany. 61 euros. So that's my own. If I had multiple different countries, I'd add up all of those dividends and put them in. But in this instance, it's only one. So I put it straight in there, and that is the tax, which is 16 euros on that. And let's continue on. Foreign bank accounts. No life policies for myself. Offshore funds. I don't have offshore funds. I have Irish domiciled funds, ETFs, so I don't put it in there. And then I press save and continue. So where are we going to next? We are going to go to Irish other income. And let's progress down there. Irish dividends, 1112 again. There we are. i.e. dividends 1112 from the report, and then we continue on. Now, ETFs. This is under this section, investment undertakings. So if I go into my annual report, and if I scroll down to page 5 currently, and I go down, I have ETFs, iShares, and I've sold them, and I've sold 2,805 euros worth. So if I go back here, I put that in here. Investment undertakings, 2,805. I then need to put in the title of it and the address. So I put all of that in there. Let me just bring that out for you. And that's that. And then we continue on. No real estate funds, and then I press save and continue there. So if I go back up to the top then, exempt income, I haven't any inputs there. Charges and deductions, let's continue there. I have no maintenance, and I have nothing there, so I continue as well. Personal tax credits, let's continue. And again, this is auto-populated. So that's €2,000. I leave that as it is. And I have a dependent grant at the moment. I leave that as it is. And I have no entrepreneurs. Startup capital incentive, none of that. I keep going down. And that is it. That's all fine. Now, other expenses, other health expenses. Again, this was auto-populated. So if I reference my receipts tracker for the year, I have other receipts 3,000, and I have total medical expenses. Let's just go back in here. So 2,000, 2,676. And if I go into receipts tracker, 2,676. There we are. So that is aligned. Non-routine dental expenses, 179. That is correct. And again, I have to stress this is auto-populated based on the receipts that I have uploaded to the receipts tracker. And then I do a calculate an amount of other. So that is that. So then I press calculate. And when I press calculate, it calculates this, and then it puts it in here. So then I continue on. I press save and continue. And if we go up here then, scroll back again, restriction of reliefs, it's not applicable to me. And if I click on calculate, this is just a general outline. Thus far, it's not complete yet, but something to be of interest if you want to copy and paste this into ChatGPT or Gemini. Capital gains. Now this is where we're going to reference again the Degiro investment annual report. And if we scroll down there, now this is important. Shares, securities, quoted. Quoted means on the open stock exchange. Unquoted means you're working for a firm and they're giving you, as a part of inducements or pay package, they're giving you shares in the company that you're working for, and they're unquoted, they're not on the stock exchange. But in this instance, I am just a retail investor and I've purchased them on the open stock exchange and I've been quoted a price for that. Now, how do we calculate this figure? We're going to go into the annual report. This is where now we need to do some manual input. On page 6 of the current annual report, under Appendix Transaction Overview, we are going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find everywhere where I did a sell. So that's S. So here is the first sale, WashTech, and that is local value 391. And again, the rest, Associated British Foods, so 391 plus 77682. Anything here where you see an S, you add them all up, and in this instance, you exclude iShares. You exclude the two of these, and in this instance, it gives a rounded figure of 10,833 gross. Now, technically speaking, I have included the... So that is that. Now I haven't... That's basically it. So then from there, we just press calculate and that will just transfer the figure down there. I don't have any commercial premises, residential premises, etc. I continue on. And I go down here. Claims on relief. Private principal residence. Again, not applicable to me. Now, this gains, losses, net chargeable gains. If we go back again and reference the Degiro annual. Now on page 2 we have gains from the sale of shares, and that is to the value of 3152. If I jump back in here, there we are. We have 3152. And then underneath, losses in the year. Let's bring that back up. Losses from the sale of shares is to the value of 141776. So we're rounding this up. If I go back in here, 14118. Okay, so that's that. And again, you can put that in, copy and paste, and put it into ChatGPT and ask, is it correct? So then you take one away from the other, and you get 1734. Then you put in your personal exemption for the year, which is 1270, and you have a net chargeable gain of 464. So that's how much you're going to be taxed on. And that is it, 33% capital gains. And then we scroll down, and that's basically it. Save and continue. And then we go back up to the top again, and we progress on. And chargeable assets. Again, this is for the current year. How much have I purchased in shares? It's not used for tax purposes for this year. It just wants to give an estimate of how much I have purchased. And I get this figure again from page 6 of my annual report. Anywhere where I see a B, buy. So I put those in, add all of the B's up in total, and simply put it into here. And that's basically it for me. And that is basically it. Capital acquisitions, I have no capital acquisitions. Property based, none for me. And then IT self-assessment. And there we are. So it calculates everything up. And you're just going to confirm that you're happy with the figures. So you just press I confirm. Figures are correct. Press yes. Transfer. I declare, press yes, save and continue, and that is basically it. That is it, and then you go through, you press print overview, and before we do that, let's go into self-assessment. Yeah, we've done that, done all of that. Press save and continue again. Press print review, print it off, and save it into that particular folder for that year. And then press sign and submit, and then do the automatic transfer for whatever the tax liability is. So in this instance, it is down at the bottom there. Payable, net amount tax payable. And that's the amount that I owe in tax for this year. And that is basically it. Thank you for watching.